Off the cuff.
That's what we should have called it.
Off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
Freestyle.
All right. Hey everyone, it's Brian Spielman from the Weekly Spiel podcast. I'm here with Wasim Khan, and we're going to break down the 2018 NBA playoffs. So we're going to start with the East bracket and move to West. All right, first up, Wasim, can you introduce the competitors?
So in the East, as you can see, we got the Raptors, the Wizards, the Cavs, the Pacers, the Sixers, the Heat, the Celtics, and the Bucks. Now, most of the series is already started, and you can see the records right here. And I'll let Brian handle this part.
Okay, so in the 1-8 matchup, we got Toronto and we got Washington. So John Wall's been out for most of the last month or two with the Wizards. They're coming back. They're not playing that well currently. The Raptors have been the best team in the East all season, but they have struggled as of late, especially with playoff competition in the East. So in Game 1, we had Serge Ibaka really stand out for Toronto. He was the star player in the game, and the Wizards really don't have a guy who can match him and guard him. So how do you see the rest of the series playing out as 1-0?
Well, you see, first of all, I think the Wizards did a really good job of playing defense, and I think mostly why Ibaka was, like the star scorer in that game was because they kept it out of DeRozan and Kyle Lowry's hands. So, honestly, for this series, I could really see the game going to maybe Game 6, 5 or 6, really, but I see the Raptors taking it.
I agree with you on that. Raptors, overall better team. They're a more cohesive unit. They have the best player in the series in DeMar DeRozan. So I got the Raptors in a few, probably 5 or 6, but we're both in agreement that we got the Raptors. All right, matchup 2, we have the 4-seeded Cavaliers versus the 5-seeded Indiana Pacers. Game 1, Victor Oladipo and the Pacers smoked the Cavs. LeBron played his normal game, but as a team, the Cavaliers missed the majority of their three-point attempts. So going forward, what do we think is going to happen?
Well, this is LeBron's team. LeBron's been in worse conditions. 3-1 in the finals. Pretty sure 0-1 in round 1 against the Pacers. I honestly feel like the Cavs could probably come back. Maybe I'd say Cavs can go to 6 as well. Probably take it.
I'm going to say Cavs in 7, but I agree with you. With LeBron's the best player, they don't have a guy who can guard him, and I don't think the Cavs are going to consistently miss that many three-pointers.
Right. I still feel like since that whole roster switch-up, they're still getting into the groove of things. The whole chemistry thing, and I feel like now because it's playoffs, they're going to get into a groove really fast.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Another thing to consider is Indiana's a really young team.
Right.
So Oladipo's only 24, 25, and then Miles Turner, Sabonis, and then you have Lance. Stevenson.
That was fun to watch. They're fun to watch. LeBron and him are fun to watch.
But we're both in agreement. We got the Cavs in 6 or 7.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So we got Cavaliers moving on. Okay. Now in the 3-6 matchup, we have the 76ers and the Heat. So the 76ers won Game 1 without Joel Embiid, who's still recovering from orbital surgery.
Yeah. Shout out Markelle Fultz.
Also, Markelle Fultz is healthy. He's coming off the bench, contributing, and then you have Ben Simmons, who is probably going to win Rookie of the Year. He almost had a triple-double in Game 1, and they smoked the Heat. They knocked down a lot of three-pointers, and Miami doesn't have that one go-to guy that they can trust at crunch time. So maybe 5 or 6 for the 76ers. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'd say Sixers and 5.
Is that Sixers and 5?
Sixers and 5, definitely.
Well, what concerns me with Miami is, they need the whole roster to play well for them to win. They don't have one guy who can carry the load. And so, like I said, they need a cohesive output for them to win.
Definitely.
The 76ers, they can rely on Ben Simmons. When Embiid gets healthy, you can get it to him. They've won 16 straight games? 15 or 16?
Yeah, they're on a streak.
So they've won 15 straight games from the regular season till now. And right now, it doesn't look like they're going to get slowed down, at least in this series.
Now, that's not to say that, D-Wade and, Dragic, that's not to say they don't carry the load, but, if they want to take this series, they're going to have to step it up and definitely figure out what's going on because, you had Robert Covington hitting back-to-back threes in Game 1. You had, Markelle Fultz was going off Game 1 as well.
Bellinelli came big off the bench.
Yeah.
So the 76ers, they look like a complete team, and once they get Embiid back in the next game or two, it's going to be hard for Miami to keep up with them.
Right.
So the last Eastern Conference matchup we got to talk about is the Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks. Game 1 went to overtime. It was really exciting. Milwaukee tried to get back into it, but they couldn't. So with the Celtics, you have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and then a bevy of role players who are just playing outstanding right now.
Yeah.
And with Milwaukee, you just have Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Eric Bledsoe, and the rest of the team it's not a really cohesive unit. It's just a bunch of guys going ISO, really.
Yeah, that's really how you can sum up the Milwaukee Bucks. But game 1 was really fun to watch. Especially with Chris Middleton hitting that long range three to go into OT. I could see this going to 6. I'd still favor the Celtics over the Bucks in 6, but I feel like it'd be a really close series.
Well, Milwaukee right now, as presently constructed, is the more talented team. But with Brad Stevens being the coach of the Celtics, he's probably the best innovative young coach in the game.
Yeah.
I just think that the Celtics are going to outclass the Bucks in this series. And so we got, 6 games?
Yeah.
5 or 6?
I'd say 6.
But we both have the Celtics.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to move over to the Western Conference. We're going to save Rockets, Timberwolves for last. So we'll start off with the Warriors and the Spurs.
Right.
Game 1 was a bloodbath. Spurs really couldn't get anything going on offense. It was painful to watch without Kawhi.
Rockets like 2 seasons ago.
Right. So this is going to be quick. Steph's not playing. So this is just really the Kevin Durant show featuring Klay Thompson. So I think we're both in agreement. We don't really need to discuss it much.
No. Just
Warriors.
Warriors.
Is what, 4 or 5? I'm going to say 4. It's going to be quick.
Yeah, I'll go 4. I'll go 4 as well.
Okay, so
You know what? No, I'll go 3. I'll just be bold and go 3.
All right. I wish. Just end it. Be merciful. All right, so now we got the 3-seeded Trailblazers versus the Pelicans. New Orleans went in Game 1, won a pretty close game at the end. Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday played outstanding. You had playoff Rondo in crunch time.
Love playoff Rondo. I miss playoff Rondo, man.
And then you have on the Blazers, you have Dame and CJ McCollum. They didn't really play.
I feel like they were pretty cold that game.
Yeah, Dame kind of came back late, but
Yeah.
as a whole, they didn't play well the rest of the game. I got the Pelicans in this one at maybe 6.
I'll take Blazers 6.
Okay, so let's discuss this.
I can't underestimate the Blazers just because of one bad game. Same thing over here what we did with the Cavs. They're down. They lost pretty horribly too, and they came back at the end. But like you said before, Dame came back closer to the tail end of the game. I think they're still trying to find a groove as well, especially against the Pelicans.
Yeah.
So I'd say Blazers in 5, 6.
But here's what worries me about the Blazers. So you have Holiday and Rondo guarding McCollum and Dame, and then you have Nurkic on AD. So I feel like, if the Pelicans' backcourt plays well, and Anthony Davis plays outstanding, the Pelicans kind of win that matchup. And I feel like
I could see that, but Trailblazers have this really weird, inconsistent clutch factor that pops up time to time. We saw it with the Rockets in I think it was 13.
Okay.
Knocked us out. I think it was second round.
Yeah.
So I just based off that, I don't want to count them out just yet.
You want to settle this like gentlemen?
Sure.
All right, Blazers.
Although those are valid points, I do see what you're saying there.
This is going to be a 6.
That clutch factor, man. It's. Ooh, when it comes out, it comes out.
But here's what happens. When it's a close series, I always kind of lean towards the team with the best player.
Right.
If everything else is even. And Anthony Davis is the best player in the series. Dame is
You're
close.
You're not wrong. But you see Dame and CJ McCollum, when they're hot combined, that's...
Yeah.
That's scary.
I respect the rock, paper, scissors. So let's move on. We got Thunder and Jazz. Game 1, Paul George went off. Was hitting threes like crazy. That was the best incarnation of the Thunder all year.
Yeah, definitely.
Now they got to limit the turnovers a little bit, but as a unit, that's what we expected all season.
That's what we never got all season.
Yeah, and with the Jazz, you had Donovan Mitchell play well, but he's got a sore foot now, banged up his toe.
Yeah, but he was. I mean, obviously he thought he was fine. He was arguing with the head trainer to come back in the game, and he ended up coming back.
No, I'm not worried about his health per se, but when you're going up against Russell Westbrook, 1-on-1. You need.
He obviously has something to prove.
I agree.
He has a huge chip on his shoulder.
Donovan, I love Donovan
potential
Mitchell.
Rookie of the Year right there.
Oh yeah, But what worries me about the Jazz is, do they have enough firepower, right? Can they score with the Thunder? So with Oklahoma City, you have Westbrook, Melo, Paul George. If he's playing like that, they're not going to get beat. Whereas with the Jazz, it's really just Donovan Mitchell creating for the offense.
Yeah.
And then maybe if he gets going, you can get like guys like Joe Ingles involved at the 3-point line.
Right.
You can get Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Maybe some lobs. But I feel like if they can cut off the head off the snake, this is going to be an easy series for the Thunder. Maybe 5 or 6. What do you think?
Yeah, Thunder in 5 definitely. Playoff Russ, playoff Paul George. Especially when Melo gets hot as well. But I think even with Melo coming off the bench, I think Thunder will take this series easy.
Yeah. All right. So last matchup we got to go over is the Rockets and Timberwolves.
Right.
Game 1 was last night. James Harden was outstanding.
Going off.
Well, that last 4 or 5 minutes of the game,
Pretty scary.
he was just pulling it from 3 and draining them. He was getting to the rack. It was
Scary.
This is a version of James Harden that gives me nightmares. Whatever
James Harden, I always want playing, and he
whatever-
always plays like that.
Whatever deal he made with the devil for that handle for that, he played outstanding. With the Timberwolves, the issue was you're not getting Karl Anthony Towns involved enough.
Yeah.
That's your one, really good matchup. Yeah, I know Capella's a really good defender, but Karl Anthony Towns he's got a couple inches on him. He's one of the best
Great
young
player.
post players in the
Great
game.
player,
And Tibbs, your guy Tibbs, not getting him involved enough. Jimmy Butler and Wiggins played okay. But as a unit, they just turned the ball over, and when it was in crunch time, no one really took
no one
charge.
performed. However, I do want to say Derrick Rose
D. Rose.
was performing. I enjoyed watching Derrick Rose play like that, man. It was very reminiscent. I like watching D. Rose play.
Okay.
Super nostalgic.
What, 4? I got 4.
3.
All right. Rockets.
Even though that game was close due to a little Chris Paul mishap, but Rockets in 3.
Oh, don't worry.
That was scary, man. I was like, what?
Just wait till round 2. We can talk about the Rockets in round 2.
My least favorite round.
These are our first round predictions going forward. I'm Brian. This is Wasim. Till next time.